The video you are about to watch may contain language, scenarios, and situations of a highly adult nature. So if you are under the age of 18, please stop watching this video and go watch the video that I put out about a month ago about Grand Theft Auto 3 that only has one view. I'd like to see 2 views on that before the week is out. You have your homework, so head to it. In other words, viewer discretion is advised. Okay, now that the kids are watching me play video games, hey, what is up? This is Couch Potato Mike back in the book club coming to you with, and I'm apologizing in advance, part 1 of chapter 22 of Freed. Yes, you heard me right, part 1. This is a particularly long chapter, even longer than the one that I put out yesterday, when love was such an easy game to play, and now I need a place to hide away. Sorry, I'm a Beatles fan. But yeah, no, so I'm going to be splitting this into 2 chapters. I just don't have time to do it all at once, and I don't want to leave you guys hanging. So, it's going to be part 1 of chapter 22 of Freed by E.L.James, and before I go ahead and get into that, I do want to remind you guys to subscribe. When I had 200 subs, I put out the challenge to get me to 300 subs within the month. And I want to say, thanks to you guys, I am over halfway there now. And that makes me very, very happy. So come on, subscribe and tell everybody you know to subscribe. And give me the thumbs up because it really helps out with that YouTube algorithm. And, oh yeah, ring the bell icon. I can't reach my bell right now, and I don't want to move out of this spot because I'm lined up perfectly. Alright, well, now that I've got all the self-aggrandizing out of the way, let's get right into Chapter 22, which takes place on Monday, August the 22nd of 2011, and we're about this far into the book. We're making headway. I'm almost to the halfway point, guys. It's been exciting. It's been a great ride. And this is a chapter that's got a lot of, it's got a lot of pluck to it. One of the ones I've been waiting for. So without any further ado, Monday, August 22nd, 2011. To our relief, there are no photographers outside SIP when we pull up in the Q7. I'm hoping that the intense press scrutiny and intrusion into our lives will now ease off. Anna gathers up her briefcase when Ryan stops the car, and I can't resist one more try. You know you don't have to do this. I know, she says quietly so Ryan and Sawyer can't hear. But I want to. You know this. Her sweet kiss does little to mollify me. We both have to go back to reality, don't we? What's wrong? She asks, and I realize I'm frowning. I'm not going to see her until this evening. We've spent the last 3 weeks or so in each other's company, and it's been the best time of my life. Sawyer climbs out of the car to open her door, and I seize my opportunity. I'll miss having you to myself. She places her palm on my cheek. Me too. Her lips brush mine. It was a wonderful honeymoon, thank you. It was for me as well, Anna. Go to work, Mrs. Gray. You too, Mr. Gray. Sawyer opens her door, she squeezes my hand, and I watch both of them head into the building. Take me to Gray House, I instruct Ryan, and stare out of the window. It's a cooler, cloudy day, a precise match for my mood. I'm strangely out of sorts. Perhaps this is what Anna was feeling yesterday, though she never managed to articulate it to me. If this was what you were experiencing, Anna, I get it. It's a case of post-honeymoon blues. As Ryan and I walk up to the entrance of Gray House, I notice Barry and an additional security guard who I don't recognize on the other side of the glass doors. Barry typically stands by the elevator and is usually the only security operative in reception. Good morning, Mr. Gray. Welcome back, he says as he holds open the door. Thank you, Barry. Good morning. They are checking that all GEH staff are wearing their passes. I'm not wearing mine, but then I'm the exception to the rule. Welch was not lying when he said he was doubling down on all our security measures. Greeting both of the receptionists with a salute, I head to the elevators. They both wave back, and I notice they're wearing their passes too. It's reassuring. Andrea and Sarah look up as the elevator doors open. Each have ID lanyards. Welcome back, Mr. Gray, Andrea says. Good morning. How are you? Oh, these are for you and Sarah. I place a bag that contains a large box of chocolates from La Durie near the Jardin des Tuileries in Paris that Anna insisted I buy for them on the desk. Andrea blushes, speechless. Yes, I don't blame her. Apart from her wedding present, this is a first. Thank you, Sarah blurts, eyeing the bag with keen interest. You're welcome. I would have bought some of their world famous macaroons too, but was advised that the chocolates have a longer shelf life. Thank you, Mr. Gray, Andrea says, recovering her composure. Coffee? Please. Black. Coming up. I head into my office, leaving Sarah's giggles and Andrea's quiet hushings behind me. Rolling my eyes, I shut the door and cut off their chatter. At my desk, I call Welch for an update on Jack Hyde. Once that call is over, I email Anna, wondering how she is adapting to life back at SIP. From Christian Gray, subject bubble. Date August 22nd, 2011, 9:32 to Anastasia Gray. Mrs. Gray, love covering all the bases with you. Have a great first day back. Miss our bubble already. X. Christian Gray, back in the real world, CEO, Gray Enterprises Holdings, Inc. My phone buzzes. Mr. Gray, I have your father on the line, Andrea says. Put him through. Christian, you called? Dad. I tell him everything that has happened with Jack Hyde since I fired him in mid-June. His vendetta against me is out of hand. We're submitting the server room footage to the FBI and the police. They can press charges. They just have to locate him first. But given what we found on his hard drive, I think I should extend our security protocols to you, Mom, Mia, and Elliot. That seems excessive. Daddy's a bright guy. I wouldn't put anything past him. Carrick blows out of breath. Well, if you think it's necessary. I do. We were followed from your house yesterday. He knows where you live. Fuck. Dad. My father sighs. Get on it. I'll talk to Mom and Mia. I'll tell Elliot. Thanks, Christian. Sorry it's come to this. Me too. With my father's reluctant agreement secured, I phoned Welch back to implement enhanced security measures for my family. I just have to tell Elliot. I don't know how he'll take the news. When I look at my emails, I notice the one that I sent to Anna has bounced. Maybe she hasn't had a chance to change her email address at work. Let's have fun with this. I forward the email I sent her. From Christian Gray, subject Errant Wives, August 22nd, 2011, 9:56 to Anastasia Steele. Steele, he says. Wife, I sent the email below and it bounced, and it's because you haven't changed your name. Something you want to tell me? Christian Gray, CEO, Gray Enterprises Holdings, Inc. Andrea knocks on the door with another coffee. Thanks, Andrea. Shall we go through the schedule? She takes the chair opposite me and we discuss my appointments for the week and the coming month. You have the Seattle Assistance Union Gala for Hope on Wednesday evening. I have 2 tickets. Your mother is involved with the charity, she says. Okay. And the Telecommunications Alliance Organization fundraiser is on Thursday evening in New York, Andrea continues. I have tickets for 2. The Gulfstream will be back. Everything is checked out. Stefan is flying in from Maine tomorrow. My plans aren't set yet. I'll talk to Roz to see if a visit to GEH fiber optics is still required. Okay. Stefan will be on standby should you decide to go. And I have your Tribeca appointment serviced, too, unless you'd like me to make reservations at the Lowell. My mind whirs. If I do go to New York, then I could come back via D.C. There are 2 meetings we could set up for Friday, one with the Securities and Exchange Commission, the other with Senator Blandino. Do you want me to arrange those? I'll talk to Vanessa about the Securities and Exchange Commission, but provisionally yes for Blandino. Sir. Okay, I should see Roz, and can you get Flynn on the line for me? Oh, and find time for Bastille tomorrow, please. Will do. She gets up and leaves. I turn my attention to my computer. An email from Anna arrived a short while ago. From Anastasia Steele, subject Don't Burst the Bubble, August 22nd, 2011, 9:58 to Christian Gray. Husband, I am all for a baseball metaphor with you, Mr. Gray. I want to keep my name here. I'll explain everything this evening. I'm going to a meeting now. Miss our bubble too. P.S. Thought I had to use my BlackBerry. Anastasia Steele, editor, SIP. I stare at her email. She's not going to take my name. She's not going to take my name. Why? She doesn't want my name. Not now, maggot. It's a gut punch. I gape at the screen, shocked and momentarily paralyzed. Don't fight, maggot. Why didn't she tell me? This is how I find out? Damn it, to hell with this. I'm going to get her to change her mind. Like you did about her obeying you, Gray. My phone buzzes. It's Andrea. Roz is on the way up. Thanks. Send her in when she gets here. I don't know what to say to Anna, so I push her email from my thoughts and await my meeting with my chief operating officer. Roz is in sparkling form. She sails through the concise agenda and brings me up to speed on everything within an hour. You've done a great job, I tell her. Christian, I loved it, but in all honesty, I missed you. I smile because I don't know how I should react. I'm not used to compliments from my staff. In all honesty, I can't say the same, I reply. She grins. That's as it should be. I'm sure you had a wonderful time. I did, thank you, except my wife doesn't want my name. She gives me a brief, speculative look, but I force a smile. Good God. I'll get on to the Detroit people, she says, and I'll give Hassan a call about whether you need to visit the New York operation this week. Thursday would be good if they need me to go. I'll let you know. After she's gone, I reread Anna's email. It's as discouraging as it was the first time I read it. While I'm contemplating how to respond, Andrea puts Flynn through. Christian, welcome back. How was your honeymoon? He sounds hale and hearty and very British. He must have been back to the UK recently. Good, thanks. He hesitates, and I know he senses something's wrong. Can I come and see you? I ask. I'm sorry, but my schedule is full today. When I don't respond, he sighs. Janet, my secretary, will kill me, but I can squeeze you in at lunchtime, though you have to watch me eat my cheese and pickle sandwiches. Okay, what time is that? 12:30. I'll see you then. I hang up and call Elliot to give him the full story on Hyde and brief him about security. What a fucker, Elliot sneers. Yes, that's him in a nutshell. Don't tell Kate about this. I know what a newshound she is. Dude, Elliot protests, but I cut him off. Elliot, I don't want to argue. She's tenacious. I met my wife because of Kate's constant badgering, and I don't want her fucking up the police investigation by becoming involved. Elliot is silent. No disrespect meant, I add. He sighs. Okay, man. Hope the police catch the bastard. Me too. I've got to be on site, but let me know how your meeting with Gia goes this evening. I can't wait to see the plans, and we can start ordering the materials we need. Will do. I have half an hour, Christian, Flynn says as I march into his office. She won't take my name. What? Anastasia. She won't take your name. He looks momentarily confused. Anastasia Gray? Yes, she sent me an email this morning telling me so. Sit, he says, and points to the couch, and rather than take his usual chair, he sits down on the couch opposite. There's a plate of sandwiches, their crust removed, and what looks like a cola in a glass in front of him on the coffee table. Lunch, he says. Please, go ahead, don't mind me. So, Christian, let's just back up a bit. I last saw you on your wedding day. It was a joyous occasion. How was the honeymoon? He takes a large bite out of a sandwich while my mind casts back a few days ago. I relax. A little, remembering the calm waters of the deep blue Med, the scent of the bougainvillea, how accommodating and efficient the crew of the Fair Lady were, how much I loved being in Anastasia's company. It was sublime. John smiles. Good. Any issues? None that I want to discuss. I'm not prepared to tell him about the Hickey incident yet. He gives me a direct, level look. Because you are encroaching on my lunchtime, I'm going to tell you that that's not very helpful. I sigh. Nothing serious. We had one fight. Was that about your name? I flush. No. Okay. When and if you want to discuss that, we can. So what's happened since then? I tell him at length about Hyde, about firing him, about the incendiary device, and the fact that he had information on me, my family, and Anna on his SIP hard drive. I tell him about the car chase. Crikey! Flynn exclaims when I'm finished. He's now the chief suspect in my helicopter sabotage. Holy crap, he mouths and takes a bite of his sandwich. But that's not the reason I'm here. This morning I got an email from Anna saying she doesn't want to take my name. I would have expected a discussion at least, not just an email. I see. His expression is thoughtful. Finding out your wife's ex-boss is trying to burn down your building and may be responsible for a near-fatal accident in your helicopter is a big deal, Christian. Plus a car chase. Have you considered that you may be channeling your stress from all the incidents into your reaction to the email that you received from your wife? I frown. I don't think so. He strokes his chin. Knowing how anxious you are about Anna's safety, all those events had to have an effect on you. As I've learned over the last few months, she is your primary concern, always. True. You do a great deal for her, he says gently. I do. You've given up a great deal for her. I say nothing. Where is he going with this? Then you might be interpreting her email as a rejection, especially after all you've done for her, and that wounds you. I take a deep breath. Yes, it does. I just can't believe she didn't talk to me about it. It's like she's dismissing me and all that I have worked to become. I wasn't born a Gray. Flynn frowns. There's a lot to unpack in that sentence, Christian, and sadly I don't have the time to do that right now. I hate to break it to you, but Anastasia keeping her name might be more about how she feels about herself and may have nothing to do with you. How could this not be about me? It's my name. It's the only one I have, the only one that I acknowledge. There you are, maggot. I gaze at him, remaining impassive. The best thing to do is to talk to her. Tell her how you feel, Flynn adds. We spoke about this before. Anna is not an unreasonable person. She's not, except about the obey vow. This obviously means a great deal to you. Talk to her. I think we have an appointment on Wednesday. We can discuss this in more detail then, and maybe in the meantime you'll have worked out some kind of compromise. Compromise? She either takes my name or she doesn't. Where's the compromise in that? Ask her why, Christian, he says gently. Communicate and compromise. Yeah, it's better to concede the battle to win the war. I parrot his words from one of our earlier sessions. Precisely. I get up. Thanks for seeing me at such short notice. Well, I hope I've been helpful. I think so. I'm going to talk to Anna right now. I'll see you Wednesday. One more thing. Layla Williams, is she in Connecticut? I ask. I think so. She starts college today in Hamden. I had an email from her last night. She's excited to begin her studies. He angles his head to one side in an unspoken why. It's nothing. See you Wednesday. Ryan, take me to SIP. Yes, sir. On the short journey to Anna's workplace, I contemplate what I'm going to say to her. We had 3 weeks to discuss the issue of her name while we were on our honeymoon. Why didn't she bring it up then? I've done nothing but call her Mrs. Gray. She didn't object. Maybe I've made a stupid assumption about her name, but she knows I have issues. I told her to manage my expectations. I want people to know she's my wife, even where she works. My name does that. It represents all that is good in my life. My parents, my father. It represents everything he's done for me, for Elliot, and for Mia, too. Even though he's an asshole sometimes, I still want to emulate him. And every time I stood in front of his desk while he gave me a dressing down, I knew I'd failed and disappointed him. He has pushed me to be a better person, a better man. I admire him. I love him. Fuck. Maybe I should wait until this evening. No, it can't wait. I will burst a blood vessel. This is too important to me. As I stare out of the car window looking at everyone going about their business, my resentment simmers. Why the hell didn't she tell me? By the time I stalk into SIP, I'm hanging onto my temper by a silken thread. The first person I meet is Jerry Roach, who's standing in the reception area and talking to a willowy woman with long, out-of-control dark hair. "Christian Grey," he says in disbelief. "Jerry, how are you?" Good. This is Elizabeth Morgan, our head of HR. "Hi," I mutter tightly as we shake hands. "Mr. Grey, I've heard a great deal about you." Her smile doesn't reach her eyes, and I doubt Anna's confided in her about me, so where she's heard about me, I don't know, but I've got no time to speculate on this now. "What can we do for you?" Roach asks pleasantly. "I need a quick word with Ms. Steele." "Anna? Of course, I'll take you to her. Follow me." His fawning small talk leaves a lot to be desired, and I listen with half an ear as we head through the double doors behind reception and through to Anna's office. I recall her saying that he went a little crazy when he found out that we were engaged. This does not endear him to me. Idly, I wonder how he would feel if he worked for Anna. That would surely make him crazy. There's a thought. That would teach him. Anna is in Hyde's old office. I nod in greeting to Sawyer, who's standing outside, while Roach raps on the door. Anna calls, "Come in." The office is as small and shabby as I remember, still in need of updating and a lick of paint. Though there are flowers on Anna's desk and the shelves are ordered and tidy. She's eating her lunch with a young woman who I assume is her assistant. Both of them gape at me. I turn to her PA. "Hello, you must be Hannah. I'm Christian Grey." Hannah leaps to her feet and offers me her hand. "Mr. Grey, how nice to meet you," she says as we shake hands. "Can I fetch you a coffee?" "Please." I give her a polite smile and she rushes out of the room. I turn to Roach. If you'll excuse me, Roach, I'd like a word with Ms. Steele." "Of course, Mr. Grey. Anna." Roach leaves, closing the door behind him. I turn my attention to my wife, who looks guilty, like I've caught her doing something illicit, though she's as lovely as ever. A little pale, perhaps. A little hostile, perhaps. Shit. My anger recedes, leaving anxiety in its wake as she squares her shoulders. "Mr. Grey, how nice to see you." Her smile is saccharine, and I know our honeymoon is over. I have a fight on my hands. My spirit nosedives once more. "Ms. Steele, may I sit down?" I nod toward the worn leather chair facing Anna's desk that's been vacated by Anna. "It's your company." She offers me the chair with a dismissive wave of her hand. "Yes, it is." I grin back with an equally saccharine look. "Yes, baby, mine." We are circling each other, boxers in a ring, sizing each other up. Dampening down my bitterness, I steel myself for the battle ahead. This issue is important to me. "Your office is very small," I note as I take the seat. "It suits me." Her tone is clipped and irritated. She's mad at me. "So what can I do for you, Christian?" "I'm just looking over my assets." "Your assets?" she scoffs. "All of them?" "All of them. Some of them need rebranding." "Rebranding?" Her eyebrows shoot up. "In what way?" "I think you know." She sighs. "Please don't tell me you have interrupted your day after 3 weeks away to come over here and fight with me about my name." That's exactly what I've done. I cross my legs and remove a speck of lint on my pants, playing for time. "Steady, Grey." "No, not exactly fight, no." She narrows her eyes at me, pissed. "Christian, I'm working." "Looked like you were gossiping with your assistant to me." "We were going through our schedules," she hisses as her cheeks color. "And you haven't answered my question." There's a knock on the door. "Come in!" Anna yells, surprising us both. Hannah enters bearing a small tray with coffee, which she places on Anna's desk. "Thank you, Hannah," Anna mutters, subdued. "Do you need anything else, Mr. Grey?" Hannah asks. "No, thank you, that's all." Deliberately, I give her my most excellent smile. It has the desired effect, and she scuttles out. "Now, Miss Steele, where were we?" "You were rudely interrupting my workday to fight with me about my name." Anna spits the words at me, her fervor taking me by surprise. She is really mad. So am I. She should have told me. I like to make the odd impromptu visit. It keeps management on their toes, wives in their place, you know. I had no idea you could spare the time, she retorts. Enough. Cut to the chase, Gray. Striving to keep my tone respectful, I ask quietly, why don't you want to change your name here? Christian, do we have to discuss this now? I'm here. I don't see why not. This is important to me, Anna. I have a ton of work to do, having been away for the last 3 weeks. Are you ashamed of me? I inquire, surprising myself and inadvertently revealing the darkness that resides in my soul. I hadn't intended to go there. I hold my breath. Don't fight, maggot. No, Christian, of course not, she grimaces, appalled. This is about me, not you. How is this not about me? I cock my head, willing her to explain. Of course this is about me. It's my name. Her expression softens. Christian, when I took this job, I'd only just met you. It's like she's talking to a child. I didn't know you were going to buy the company. She closes her eyes as if this was a particularly painful memory and puts her head in her hands. Why is it so important to you? She asks and looks up, beseeching me. I want everyone to know that you're mine. I am yours. Look. She holds up her hand, which bears her wedding and engagement rings. It's not enough, I whisper. Not enough that I married you? Her voice is almost inaudible and her eyes widen. That's not what I mean. Anna, don't distort what I've been trying to say to you. What do you mean? She demands. I want your world to begin and end with me. Her eyes are impossibly blue. It does, she says, and I don't know if I've ever heard 2 words filled with such quiet passion before. They suck the air out of the room and take my breath away. I'm just trying to establish a career, she continues, warming to her subject. And I don't want to trade on your name. I have to do something, Christian. I swallow down my rising emotion, listening hard as she speaks. I can't stay imprisoned at Escala or the new house with nothing to do. I'll go crazy. I'll suffocate. I've always worked and I enjoy this. This is my dream job. It's all I've ever wanted. But doing this doesn't mean I love you less. You are the world to me. Her voice is hoarse and her eyes dewy with unshed tears. We hold each other's gaze, testing the silence between us. You are my world, Anna. But I want you bound to me in every way. I need that. I need you. Maybe too much. I suffocate you? I whisper. No! Yes! No! She sounds exasperated. She closes her eyes and rubs her forehead. Look, we were talking about my name. I want to keep my name here because I want to put some distance between you and me. But only here. That's all. You know everything. You know, everyone thinks that I got this job because of you, when the reality is... She stops and sits back, staring at my expression in shock. Shit, how does she read me so well? Fess up, Gray. Do you want to know why you got the job, Anastasia? What? What do you mean? The management here gave you Hyde's job to babysit. They didn't want the expense of hiring a senior executive when the company was in mid-sale. They had no idea what the new owner would do with it once it passed into his ownership, and, wisely, they didn't want an expensive redundancy. So they gave you Hyde's job to caretake until the new owner, namely me, took over. That's the truth. What are you saying? She looks offended and horrified. Baby, don't sweat this. Relax. You've more than risen to the challenge. You've done very well. You're very good at what you do, Anastasia Steele. Oh, she says, and she looks lost. And it all becomes crystal clear. This is what she wants. This is her dream, and I can make it come true. I vowed I would uphold her dreams during our wedding. I don't want to stifle her. I want to help her reach her full potential. I want her to fly, but just not too far away from me. I don't want to suffocate you, Anna. I don't want to put you in a gilded cage. Well, the rational part of me doesn't. It's a gamble, but I play my most ambitious hand yet, voicing the idea that I've had on the spur of this moment. So, one of the reasons I'm here, apart from dealing with my errant wife, is to discuss what I'm going to do with this company. Anna scowls. So, what are your plans? Her sarcasm is threaded through each word, and she cocks her head to one side, like I do, copying me, laughing at me, I suspect. God, I love her. She's recovered her backbone. I'm changing the name of the company to Gray Publishing. Anna blinks. And in a year's time, it will be yours. Her mouth drops open. This is my wedding present to you. She shuts her mouth, opens it again, then shuts it again, looking shell-shocked. So, do I need to change the name to Steel Publishing? Christian, you gave me a watch. I can't run a business. I ran my own business from the age of 21. But you, control freak and whiz kid extraordinaire. Geez, Christian, you majored in economics at Harvard before you dropped out. At least you have some idea. I sold paint and cable ties for 3 years on a part-time basis, for heaven's sake. I've seen so little of the world, and I know next to nothing. Well, that's not true. You're also the most well-read person I know. I have to pitch this to her. You love a good book. You couldn't leave your job while we were on our honeymoon. You read how many manuscripts? 4? 5, she whispers. And you wrote full reports on all of them. You're a very bright woman, Anastasia. I'm sure you'll manage. Are you crazy? Crazy for you? Always. She snorts, trying not to laugh. You'll be a laughingstock buying a company for the little woman who has only had a full-time job for a few months of her adult life? I dismiss her concerns with a wave of my hand. Do you think I give a fuck what people think? Besides, you won't be on your own. Christian, She stalls, lost for words, and I cherish the moment. It doesn't happen often. She lays her head in her hands again. When she looks up, she's trying not to laugh. Something amusing you, Ms. Steele? Yes, you. Her amusement is contagious, and I find myself smiling. This is what she does. Disarms me. Every time. Laughing at your husband. That will never do. Her teeth sink into her lovely lower lip. And you're biting your lip, I mutter darkly. It's a stirring sight. She sits back. Don't even think about it, she warns. Think about what, Anastasia? Fucking you in your office? Lust streaks through my bloodstream like lightning. I know that look. We're at work, she whispers. Can't you feel this, Anna? The sorcery between us is potent, raw. I lean forward to get closer to her, to catch her scent, to touch her. We're in a small, reasonably soundproofed office with a lockable door, I whisper. I want to seduce my wife. Gross moral turpitude. Each word is a bullet forming a shield around her. Not with your husband. With my boss's boss's boss, she hisses. You're my wife. Christian, no, I mean it. You can fuck me 7 shades of Sunday this evening, but not now, not here. Hell. I take a deep breath as I come to my senses, and the temperature in the room drops back to normal. I laugh, releasing my tension. 7 shades of Sunday? I arch a brow, intrigued. I may hold you to that, Ms. Steele. Oh, stop with the Ms. Steele, she snaps and hammers her hand on her desk, making us both jump. For heaven's sake, Christian, if it means so much to you, I'll change my name. What? She's agreeing? I feel a sudden rush of relief. My face erupts in a huge grin. I've succeeded in a negotiation with my wife. I think this might be a first. Thank you, Anna. Good. I clap my hands and stand. Mission accomplished. Now, I have work to do, if you'll excuse me, Mrs. Gray. She gawks at me. But what, Mrs. Gray? She shakes her head and closes her eyes, just looking thoroughly exasperated. Just go. I intend to. I'll see you this evening. I'm looking forward to 7 Shades of Sunday. I ignore her scowl. Oh, and I have a stack of business-related social engagements coming up, and I'd like you to accompany me. She frowns. I'll have Andrea call Hannah and put the dates in your calendar. There's some people you need to meet. You should get Hannah to handle your schedule from now on. Okay, she mumbles, sounding bewildered. I lean over the desk, staring straight into her dazed baby blues. Love doing business with you, Mrs. Gray. She doesn't move, and I plant a soft kiss on her lips. Laters, baby, I whisper and turn and leave. Outside SIP, I sink into the plush leather in the back of the waiting Audi and ask Ryan to take me back to Gray House. Thank heavens. My relief is proportionate to the anxiety I felt when I went into the building. It appears my wife can be reasonable. I reach for my phone to send her an email and find that she's beaten me to it. From Anastasia Steele. Subject, not an asset. August 22nd, 2011, 14:23 to Christian Gray. Mr. Gray, next time you come and see me, make an appointment so I can at least have some prior warning of your adolescent overbearing megalomania. Yours. Anastasia Gray. Please note name. Editor, SIP. Overbearing megalomaniac, eh? My wife has such a way with words. From Christian Gray, subject 7 Shades of Sunday, August 22nd, 2011, 14:34 to Anastasia Steele. My dear Mrs. Gray, emphasis on my. What can I say in my defense? I was in the neighborhood, and no, you are not an asset. You are my beloved wife. As ever, you make my day. Christian Gray, CEO and overbearing megalomaniac, Gray Enterprises Holdings, Inc. In a calmer frame of mind, I head back to my office. I need lunch. Throughout the afternoon, I check my emails to see if she's responded. She hasn't, and I presume that's the end of it, I hope. Later, I'm sitting in the car waiting for Anna outside SIP. Ryan is tapping his index finger on the steering wheel, and it's driving me crazy. For fuck's sake. Taylor will be back this evening, so I'm endeavoring to keep my cool. I keep glancing toward the door to see if Anna's on her way. According to my watch, it's 5:35 precisely. She's 5 minutes late. We have a meeting with Gia later. I hope Anna hasn't forgotten. Where is she? Sawyer appears, holding the office door open for Anna. Ryan gets out and strolls around the car to the rear passenger door. What's he playing at? Head down, Anna walks briskly toward us, followed by Sawyer, who heads to the driver's seat while Anna climbs into the car. Ryan takes the passenger seat. Hi, she says, avoiding eye contact. Hi. Disrupt anyone else's work today? Her tone is frostier than an Arctic night. Only Flynn's. Her eyes flick to me in surprise, but she looks ahead. Next time you go to see him, I'll give you a list of topics I want covered. She's bristling like a feral kitten beside me. She's still mad. I clear my throat. You seem out of sorts, Mrs. Gray. She doesn't answer. She just stares ahead, ignoring me. I shuffle a little closer and reach for her hand. Hey, I whisper, but she snatches her hand out of mine. You're mad at me. Yes, she spits, and folds her arms, turning away from me and staring through the window. Damn. Seattle streams past my window when I stare out, unseeing, feeling miserable and out of my depth. I thought we'd resolved this. Sawyer stops outside a Scala, and Anna grabs her briefcase and is out of the car before any of us are ready. Anna, I call. I've got this, Ryan says, and scoots out into pursuit. Not waiting for Sawyer to open my door, I scramble out after them in time to watch Anna stomp into the building with Ryan at her heels. I'm right behind them when he dashes ahead to reach the elevator before her to press the call button. What? She snaps at him. He flushes, shocked, I think, by her tone. Apologies, ma'am, he says. He steps back when I join them. So it's not just me you're mad at, I observe wryly. Are you laughing at me? She seethes, her eyes narrowing. I wouldn't dare. I hold my hands up and surrender. I am no match for my wife's bad mood. You need a haircut, she scowls as she steps into the elevator. Do I? Taking my life in my hands and brushing my hair off my forehead, I follow her in. Yes, she stabs the code for our floor into the keypad. So, you're talking to me now? Just. What exactly are you mad about? I need an indication, so I'm sure. She stares at me, horrified. Do you really have no idea? Surely for someone so bright you must have an inkling. I can't believe that you're that obtuse. Wow. I take a step back. You really are mad. I thought we'd sorted all this in your office. Christian, I just capitulated to your petulant demands, that's all. I have no answer to that. The elevator's door opens and Anna storms out. Hi, Taylor, I hear her say. I follow her into the foyer. Mrs. Gray, Taylor says, and glances at me with raised eyebrows. She dumps her briefcase in the hallway. Good to see you, I quietly address Taylor. Sir, he says, and I follow my wife into the living room. Hi, Mrs. Jones, Anna says, and stomps straight to the fridge. I nod at Gail, who's at the stove preparing dinner. Anna pulls out a bottle of wine and a glass from the cupboard while I remove my jacket, wondering what to say to her. Do you want a drink? She asks in a syrupy tone. No thanks. I watch her as I take off my tie and undo my shirt collar. She pours herself a large glass of wine while Mrs. Jones, with a swift, unreadable look at me, exits the kitchen. So Anna's frightened off all the staff. I am the last man standing. I run my hand through my hair, feeling helpless while she takes a sip of wine, closing her eyes and enjoying the taste, or so it would seem. Enough. Stop this, I whisper, stepping toward her. Tucking her hair behind her ear, I then gently tug on her earlobe because I want to touch her. She takes a breath, then shakes me off. Talk to me, I whisper. What's the point? You don't listen to me. Yes, I do. You're one of the few people I listen to. Her eyes don't leave mine as she takes another swig of wine. Is this about your name, I ask? Yes and no. It's about how you dealt with the fact that I disagreed with you. She sounds surly. Anna, you know I have issues. It's hard for me to let go where you're concerned. You know that. But I'm not a child and I'm not an asset. I know, I sigh. Then stop treating me as though I am. She beseeches me with quiet fortitude. I can't bear not touching her. Brushing my fingers down her cheek, I run the tip of my thumb across her bottom lip. Don't be mad. You're so precious to me. Like a priceless asset, like a child. I'm neither of those things, Christian. I'm your wife. If you were hurt that I wasn't going to take your name, you should have said. Hurt? I frown. Hurt? Yes, I am. Was. Shit. This is confusing. This is what Flynn said. I glance at my watch. The architect will be here in just under an hour. We should eat. Anna looks dismayed, the V between her brows deeper than usual. This discussion isn't finished. What else is there to discuss? You could sell the company. Sell it, I scoff. Yes. Why would I do that? You'd think I'd find a buyer in today's market? How much did it cost you? It was relatively cheap. So, if it folds, we'll survive. But I won't let it fold, Anastasia, not while you're there. And if I leave? And do what? I don't know, something else. You already said this is your dream job, and forgive me if I'm wrong, but I promised before God, Reverend Walsh, and the congregation of our nearest and dearest to cherish you, uphold your hopes and dreams, and keep you safe at my side. Quoting your wedding vows to me is not playing fair. I've never promised to play fair where you're concerned. Besides, you've wielded your vows at me like a weapon before. She scowls. Anastasia, if you're still angry with me, take it out on me in bed later. Her mouth pops open, and I know how I'd like to fill it. Right now, here. Then I remember. 7 Shades of Sunday, I whisper, looking forward to it. She closes, then opens her mouth again. Oh, baby, what I'd like to do with that mouth. Stop, Gray. Gail, I call, and a few moments later she comes back into the kitchen. Mr. Gray, she says, we'd like to eat now, please. Very good, sir. I watch Anna, who has gone worryingly quiet as she takes another sip of wine. I think I'll join you in a glass, I mutter and run a hand through my hair. She's right, it's too long, but I don't think she'd approve if I went to Esclava to have it cut. Anna is monosyllabic as we eat. Well, I'm eating. Anna is pushing her food around her plate. But given how mad she is at me, I decide not to chide her about it. It's frustrating. Hell, I can't stay quiet. You're not going to finish? No. I wonder if she's doing this on purpose, but before I can ask her, she stands and takes my empty plate and hers from the dining table. Gia will be with us shortly, she says. I'll take those, Mrs. Gray, Mrs. Jones says. Thank you. You didn't like it? Gail asks, concerned. It was fine. I'm just not hungry. Mrs. Jones gives Anna a pitying smile, and I suppress my eye roll. I'm going to make a couple of calls, I mumble to escape them both. The spectacular sunset over the distant sound does little to improve my temper. I wish for a moment that Anna and I were on the Grace or back on the Fair Lady. We didn't argue then, well, apart from after the Hickey incident. I dwell on Flynn's words. Marriage is a serious business. It sure is. Sometimes too serious, especially if your wife doesn't agree with you. Communicate and compromise. This should be my new mantra. Why is this so hard? I don't want you to sabotage your happiness, Christian. Flynn is still in my head. Shit, is this what I'm doing? Sullenly, I pick up the phone and call my dad to let him know that all the arrangements are in place for additional security. It's a short conversation. When I'm done, I gather up Gia Mateo's designs and head back into the living room. And tomorrow we will catch up with Christian and Anna and Gia Mateo and all the great things that happen for the rest of this evening. Like I said, it's a long chapter, and I'm sorry, guys, that I'm splitting it in two, but these really long ones, they start grating on my voice, to be perfectly honest with you. And I have to duck out really quickly. And like I said, I didn't want to leave you guys high and dry. So, until the next chapter, I just want to remind you that I'm Couch Potato Mike, but then again, you know that. And I also want to remind you that in the end, we're all stories. So let's make them good ones. See you next time, guys.